Hello, world. Welcome back. My name is Larry Alfred Wiggs II, and this is my book 109. This is my poem, which is housed in my book. All right. The poem is entitled 109. It's housed in this lovely book here. Now, if you were watching the previous video, you know that I've been counting the number of countries I've traveled to up until 2017, and I was able to tell you about 12 countries, um, possibly 12 countries. I was able to get the list up to 15 countries, and I was able to figure out which two countries were missing from my list because in the year 2017, I traveled to 17 countries. Those countries include, drum roll please, Saudi Arabia, where I worked, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Ethiopia, Germany, Mexico, England. I had a layover in England, Cuba, Panama, Peru, Japan, the Philippines, the USA, my hometown or home country, and Egypt and Sri Lanka. Okay? So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Those are the 17 countries I traveled to. All right? And let's see. Saudi Arabia is where I worked. The UAE was only a short hour and a half flight from there. That was a weekend trip. Bahrain is so close to Saudi Arabia that I would just head across the border on a weekend because the lifestyle in Saudi Arabia is so restrictive. You need some sort of diversion, and Bahrain is just that diversion. Then on another weekend, but many weekends were spent in Bahrain because it's so close. Excuse me. On another weekend, I went to Qatar, flew to Qatar, about an hour and a half flight. Another flight to Oman. I believe that was a 2 hour and 20-minute flight. There's a time difference, time change, so it may have been an hour and a half flight, but with the time change, it was also it was 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours. All right, flew to Ethiopia. That was a 4 hour and 20-minute flight from Saudi Arabia. I flew from Saudi Arabia to Ethiopia, but I also flew to Ethiopia from Bahrain, and I also flew to Ethiopia from Dubai. So I really am not going to quote the number of hours, or flight time, because they all varied. All right, anyhow, I traveled to Germany, I traveled to Mexico, I traveled to England, and I mentioned this before. The England trip was a layover, but I had a 6 hour layover, and I made it a point to leave the airport to travel to see the city. So I've been to London, England one time, and I was able to get out of the airport and have a look around. I took a photo in front of Big Ben. I crossed the London Bridge. I saw the big Ferris wheel, and let's see, Buckingham Palace, Westminster Abbey. These names come to mind. Yeah. Okay. And sadly, it was right after there was some sort of attack. I think it was I'm not certain. It was 2017, and the security, the British police force was out and about because there had been an attack. Yes, a stabbing on the bridge near Big Ben. So that was yeah. And then I think there was another stabbing later on the London Bridge after my travel. So I got in and everything was cool when I was there, but around the time that I was traveling, before and after, there were incidents. So I guess I was lucky. All right. Let's see, Cuba. I traveled to Cuba. I traveled to Panama. I traveled to Peru, Japan, the Philippines, America, Egypt, and Sri Lanka. I had another friend in Sri Lanka whom I didn't promise that I would visit my buddy there, but I did make it a point to say, yeah, one day I will get there. And that ambition was able to come to fruition. So, okay. All right, so that's it about 2017. Those are the 17 countries I traveled to in 2017. Next up, 2018.